Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here, and it's time to take a look at the new Pura 70 Ultra from Huawei, and this is their renamed P-Series phone. The Pura 70 Ultra seems to be no different. It actually has a pop-out camera. I'm excited to check that out. Triple camera setup and a lot more. So we're gonna take a quick look what comes in the box, even do a few photos to test this new flagship from Huawei. Let's get started. Here it is, the Pura 70 Ultra from Huawei. I do like that they use just a different texture to the packaging. Always nice when there's something just a little different. Opening up the box right away, we have our Pura 70 Ultra. We're gonna set that to the side for just a second, continue through. You have a SIM ejection tool. Huawei didn't include the booklets, but also a case, and actually a really cool case. It's very minimal. As you can tell, just very open on the sides. It will protect the corners, however, and obviously around the camera module. Next up, we have our USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable with some orange accents, but this is actually really cool. The charging brick that is included. Okay, there we go. This charging brick, check it out. 100 watts, Huawei supercharged, but look, you have a USB Type-A and a USB Type-C port to charge it. The cable, obviously USB Type-C, but about time a company actually included both inputs with the charging brick. So that way you can just use, one brick for multiple things. By the way, this charges up to 100 watts, which is crazy fast. And on to what you came to see, the very good looking, unique Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. Here it is. Incredibly unique. This is their green color, but let's take a closer look at the overall hardware. So down at the bottom, we've got our SIM card slot, microphone, USB Type-C port, plus a speaker. Moving along, on the right side is where you're gonna find the power and volume buttons. Make note, that power button has just a subtle orange accent with some texture to it. I do really like it. Now make note, there is a camera bump, obviously, moving along up towards the top. We've got an IR blaster, great to see, and another microphone. And then along the left side is absolutely nothing. I do want to point out the corners are very round, which makes it very comfortable to hold. And a quick close-up of that back color and texture specifically. It's actually really nice touch, softer touch feel with some grip to it. I do really like it. And now onto that camera module. This is our retractable lens with variable aperture, a 50 megapixel main sensor. You also have a 50 megapixel telephoto lens that will zoom up to 3.5 times optically, plus one more lens, 40 megapixels ultra wide. We'll check out the pop-up camera in just a second. We are all set up and ready to go with the Pura 70 Ultra from Huawei. Here it is. It just feels really comfortable in hand. I'd also like to point out there is a pre-installed screen protector. I recommend keeping it on, but I'm peeling it off for the video. This is Huawei's X True display, a 6.8 inch 2844 by 1260 resolution. You do get a peak brightness of 2500 nits plus a refresh rate 1 hertz to 120 hertz. So let's jump into settings and see if that's enabled by default. It does seem like it is based on how smooth it is. Now I do want to point out, be sure to check your screen resolution. You can have smart resolution, which will adjust depending on the type of content shown, or you can bump it down to low to help save power, and then the refresh rate. Also dynamic, again, 1 to 120 hertz. Really nice to see that. That will help save battery life. I'd recommend dynamic, or you can force 120 hertz. It just looks really smooth, but really good looking device overall. Very quickly, let's test out that in-display fingerprint scanner. Seems to be very quick and accurate. You don't need the screen on to actually unlock your phone. And also, it is protected by crystal armor glass by Kunlun. All right, let's open up that camera application. And I already heard it. There's a subtle noise that is made with that retractable pop-out camera. So here's a look at the mechanism. It will actually expand and retract, depending on the mode you're in, if the camera's even being used. If the main camera's used, it will pop out that lens. Now don't worry, Huawei's tested this up to 300,000 times up and down, which is a crazy amount, but really cool they've included the hardware. And just a quick sound test.
Anyways, with that being said, snapping a couple quick pictures, shutter speed is extremely quick. Again, 3.5x is optical zoom. Anything past that is digital zoom, but 10x, and you can zoom all the way up to 100x if necessary. Now, I don't have a ton of time, but I'm going to go outside and we're going to take some test shots with our Pura 70 Ultra. To begin, just a quick selfie with the front-facing camera, and I'd also like to point out you can get as close to 5 centimeters to a subject with their 35x macro zoom, so you get some really close-up shots with a lot of texture and detail to them. It's actually pretty impressive how close you can get. That main sensor is a 1-inch sensor and uses sensor shift optical image stabilization with a variable aperture, actually. So, you know, if there's less light, it will open up and let more light in. And the good lighting situation shots turned out really good. And even those 10x shots were very impressive, very detailed. If you'd like to, you can zoom in 100x. Those shots aren't going to be post-worthy, but it's still kind of crazy in such a small phone. You can zoom in that far. I'd also like to note the lighting was actually a little harsh with very bright sun, and when I did take shots with the sun in the backdrop, it did a really good job with that exposure. The Pura 70 Ultra has a 5200 milliamp hour battery, up to 80 watts wirelessly charged. You saw 100 watts wired, but even 80 watts wireless is crazy fast. Now, if we go back into settings, scroll down, Huawei Assistant is where some AI features are, like AI search with suggested apps. You do have AI tips as well in case you need them. AI touch, which if you actually use 2 fingers, hold them down on the screen to identify objects, read QR codes. So that's actually a little handy, a little tip. And then AI lens, which will translate and scan. And finally, let's check out that included case. Again, just very minimal overall. Everything is exposed on the sides. The cutouts look good. I actually do really like this case. Just kind of a subtle P there, almost like a nod to their P series, so to speak. But anyways, that is it for me on the Pura 70 Ultra. Drop a comment, let me know what you think, especially about this camera system. Be sure to subscribe as well. A lot more content coming soon. Be sure to click the thumbs up button. And as always, thanks for watching.